Hello, welcome back to Blue City Reviews Daily. Today I'm going to be talking a little bit about a film I saw last week called Power Ballad from writer-director John Carney. Now, John Carney is best known for his films like Once and Begin Again. Begin Again is my personal favorite. Similar material. It's about the power of redemption through music. Both films, Begin Again specifically, to me at least, have phenomenal songs in them, phenomenal performances, and characters learning from each other and seeking better ends and means and ends for themselves through the music that they create together. In both of those films, and he's done some other ones as well. I don't believe I've seen them all, but both of those films were, very successful in their own right. And I was super excited for this new one, as all of his fans are. If you haven't seen this yet, I think it's still in theaters, and it definitely did not disappoint. Paul Rudd, you can't miss with Paul Rudd, for me anyway. I'm a deep cut, old school Paul Rudd fan, going way back to like 1996 with Halloween 6, right? I loved him in that. I think there's a bit in there where he sees Michael Myers, and as one of my fellow film reviewers out there said, it's exactly the look that you would expect somebody to have when they see Michael Myers. You have to see it to get it, but he's phenomenal. And there's a Jonas brother in here as well. I'm not exactly familiar with him at all, other than I get the sense that he's playing himself here. For better or worse, he's playing himself, and he glides through the film just fine. He does just fine. Now, this is not the film I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be about these two characters, the Jonas character and Paul Rudd, who is a wedding singer, who meet at somewhat randomly at a gig and hash out some songs together late at night over some drinks and some weed. And one of them takes the best song that they sort of are bouncing back and forth, which is primarily the wedding singer's song, and turns into a hit, and doesn't give the Paul Rudd character, who is very poor and not as well off at all, any credit for it. And I assumed the film was going to be about those two guys learning and growing, and in the end we can be friends type of thing. It's not that film at all. It's actually about a film about Paul Rudd reclaiming his family's trust and regaining his trust in himself as an artist, because for a lot of the film, this might be a slight spoiler, I don't believe it is, but for a lot of the film, a lot of people don't believe that Paul Rudd wrote the song, including the people who should be supporting him most. So that is really, really interesting. And there's a bit here in a hot tub where it is probably one of the best things Paul Rudd has ever done for a film. It's so endearing and sweet and heartbreaking, and it exemplifies everything that Paul Rudd does well and why he is a megastar. Now, Begin Again is my jam. I think Mark Ruffalo and Keira Knightley are phenomenal in that movie. I think the supporting cast, Adam Levine and people like Rob Moreau, are appropriately sleazy and slimy in the sort of entertainment industry side of that film. And the soundtrack on that cannot be beat. And I'm not one to compare films, like this is my favorite over this, and whatever. Every film has its own set of circumstances. So but yeah, I would not say this is John Carney's best film. So there's just some stuff, like a bit at the end where the guys are wrestling through the brush, throwing quippy stuff back and forth at each other that felt like something out of an Apatow film, where it should have been perhaps a little bit more serious and heartbreaking. But who am I to say, right? This is a phenomenal film. If you know John Carney, you'll probably love this, and even if you don't, I think you'll enjoy it. It's just a sweetheart of a movie. So all right, once again, thanks for watching. Cheers.